All right, if you have been watching the Detroit Lions since 2021 and you know who Brad Holmes is and you see what Dan Campbell does, then you are starting or at least trying to figure out their draft strategy. Well, Brad Holmes is saying, stop trying. Just get your popcorn and watch the draft. That's what he's telling us to do. And I think it's because he wants to make sure that everybody knows he doesn't have a specific style. There's no way to try and be able to project or be able to predict who he is going to draft. I'm here to tell you it's a little bit different than that. But first, hey, if you're new to this channel, my name's Craig. Me and my buddy Chris, we've been doing this channel. It's got to be like 4 years now, something like that. We have always been diehard Lions fans, but we're still trying to keep it real and just talk Lions football. Hey, speaking of the draft, we will be live. We will be going live for the first round of the NFL draft. We can't wait to spend that year. We always look forward to the draft every year, just spending time talking with all of you in our community. Make sure you set it up. You're going to go live with us on Thursday night. Can't wait to have that happen. All right, couple of other things that I just want to talk about real quick as it pertains to this. The Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes have one simple rule when it comes to the NFL draft. And I will show you how everything revolves around that. And that one simple rule, and then we're going to do a 3-round mock draft to show what that rule is. Now, I'm not Brad Holmes, but we're going to do our best. I'm definitely not Brad Holmes. All right, but anyways, with all that being said, their one simple rule, talent. They want to draft the best player available. That is a combination of talent and personality and football IQ. That is what makes the best player available to the Detroit Lions. You need to have a player who can play the game, who loves to play the game, and is smart when they are playing the game. So, for example, we'll go into a couple quotes here. All right, everybody has been asking Brad Holmes about drafting an edge rusher. And when he met with the media earlier, this is what they kept asking him. And here's what he had to say. What I won't do is what I've been saying that I won't do, that I know you guys get frustrated with me not doing, is looking at our depth chart. Like black and white names, but no football being played. But looking at a depth chart and seeing a position and saying, man, you've got to go get that position, Holmes said. But a player has to play that position. That's why I've always been saying, look, we want to get good players. And I'm gonna read more of this quote. But listen to that. One rule, get good players. That's it. That's it. He went out and said you can draft a pass rusher every round. You could. It's easy. Just like if a coach told me, man, we really want a guy that's 6'4", 250 pounds. To get a guy that's 6'4", 250, that's easy. You want a guy that's 6'4", 250 pounds? Yeah. I don't know if he's a good football player, but here's 6'4", 250 pounds. This is awesome. We're the same as, you can draft a defensive end. If the player playing defensive end is not what we feel is going to be the right guy to really contribute to the football team, then what are you guys going to write about that player? You guys will say, man, that's not working. So we're not going to reach on players just to fill a position. That's not what we do, or that's what we don't do, is what he said. How awesome is this guy? I love it. And that's why if you've watched any of the videos here and we've gone through a mock draft or we do something like that, if the right edge rusher is not available, we don't take him. Because that's what Brad Holmes does. The problem is everybody is trying to figure out, what is Brad Holmes going to do? What's he going to do? In order to get the best player, he's either going to stay put and draft the best player where he is. He's going to trade up to go get that player, a la Terry Arnold, a la Jamison Williams. He's going to trade up to get them. Giovanni Manu, Sione Vaki in the most recent one. He traded up multiple times last year. Sometimes he understands who the best player is, but also understands what other people feel with positional value. And for example, a couple years ago, he traded back to get Jahmyr Gibbs. So when you look at things like this, you have to have the consideration and understanding he can trade up to get best player available. Sometimes you can even trade back, or you can stay put. But he is going to get the best player available. Now, I will say Brad Holmes drafts up or trades up more than he trades back. He falls in love with players. So let's go here and find out what we're going to do. By the way, in case you're wondering, with pick 28, PFF has us needing wide receiver, guard, edge, linebacker. We talked about all these positions, but let's go ahead and let's see what's going to become available for us. Now, here's one guy right here, James Pierce Jr. If he was still there, I'd think about it because I think he's a really, really good player. Usually, when I'm doing drafts like this, what I am taking is Kelvin Banks Jr. or Josh Connerly Jr. because I think these are two tackles that have outside-inside versatility, and I think they are absolutely loaded. The best players on the edge are almost all gone. Now, Nick Skirton or Scourton, I forget how it's pronounced. It's not how you would think, right? He's usually available, but I don't think he's the best player available at this time. Now, when you look at him for like size and speed and all of this kind of stuff and athleticism, oh my goodness, is he alluring. But when you look at him for sacks, not phenomenal, right? I do think you could argue that he is, but you could also argue that he's not. For me, when I look at this, to me, the highest upside player in all of these is Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. This is a guy that has played guard, tackle, center. It was hilarious. He played tackle, right? He played tackle in college, but then when he went to the Senior Bowl, they had him play center, and he did such a good job playing center at the Senior Bowl that Brugler on The Beast rated him as the number 1 center in the draft. Position doesn't matter. Let's take the best player. If you would take someone else, put it in the comments. I have no problem with that. I really am between Nick, who's an edge player, and Zabel, but I'm going to go ahead and take Zabel. I almost went Amari and Hampton. I know that sounds crazy, but I almost went Amari and Hampton on this one. All right, now, this is a very interesting spot to be in because when I look at the players available, I think you have multiple players who are extremely talented. I think Elijah Arroyo is an extremely talented tight end. 6'4", 245. He would kind of be that receiving tight end who all of us are like, do we even need that? I don't know, right? Shane Zylstra would no longer be on the team, right? Like all of that kind of stuff. But then you look at Travion Henderson. A lot of people view Travion Henderson as a Jahmyr Gibbs type. What if we had two of them? A lot of people view Quinshon Judkins as a David Montgomery type, right? Like these are powerful, wonderful players. You have Jalen Royals, who is just a very talented wide receiver. So if Brad Holmes is saying, I don't care about position, I just want the best player available. I think there's a chance that Elijah Arroyo or one of these running backs go. And you have to wonder with David Montgomery, how healthy is that knee? Do you still want a Thunder to a Lightning, or do you want a Lightning and Lightning? What if we just go get another running back? Travion Henderson, best player available. Boom. If you thought somebody else was better, put it in. All right? Put it in. Now we get here, and we are in the last portion, or the last pick that I'm going to do at the 102, and all of a sudden, the best player available that falls to us just might be Savion Jones out of LSU. It just might be. He's a guy, he's 6'6", 280, long, impressive type of guy that you can develop into a good edge rusher. You might be taking his upside on this, and you draft him. There you go. Like, I don't think this is what it'll end up being. There'll probably have been a trade in there or something like that. Yep, and then look at this. They're telling me I should have drafted Nick Skirton because Why? Position. They don't know our GM. Now, if Nick Skirton's there, maybe you do take him. Some people are saying that's a little too rich. Some people are saying that he'll go before that. It's just really, really impressive, or really, really interesting what they're doing with it. Lions have one rule. All right, now you know it, and their trades, all that kind of stuff will go around that. The reason it's so hard to figure out who Brad Holmes is going to draft is because you don't know who he's going to fall in love with. It's really that simple. You just don't know who he's going to fall in love with. It ends up being a random player, and you're like, okay, that's our guy. All right, thanks for watching. Keep it here. 1 week until the NFL draft. See you then.